Our next guest is a designer, globally recognized leader in sustainable development. He's chair of the World Economic Forum's Meta Council on the Circular Economy. He is the chief executive at McDonough Innovation, also co-founder of the Make It Right Foundation. Let's just bring him in. Bill McDonough, welcome to Bloomberg Radio.
Thank you.
Bill, you think about sustainability, certainly in design and development, and you think of you. Talk to us about some of the work that you've been doing and your thinking when it comes to design and architecture.
Well, I think we can design from the molecule to the region. And so we've designed products. I work with German chemist Michael Braungart. We've developed protocols for chemistry, for safe materials for products. And then we design buildings that are similar, that act like trees, that can make water out of the sky and purify water, purify soil, things like that, all cost effectively. And we're now doing major city planning this way too.
I think what you guys did with Make It Right here in New Orleans is just so fascinating. Mm-hmm. But I also think the way that you started it is bonkers and wonderful. Talk to me about the pink houses. What happened there?
Oh, well, it was something that Brad initiated. It was very exciting.
Brad Pitt, who is apparently
Brad
an actor
Pitt
or something.
He's a friend of mine.
But a big architectural fan.
Yes, indeed, and a great designer in his own right. Brad called me after he read Cradle to Cradle and said, can we do something together? And we decided to do something in New Orleans, and that something small would be lost. And we really wanted to help. So we decided to do 150 houses in the lower Ninth Ward where the levee broke by the barge, and a lot of people passed away there. So we started there. Brad was filming in New Orleans at the time a movie called Benjamin Button. Mm-hmm. And in filming, you have pink as the green screen, so to speak, outdoors, because you can't have green because there's other green around. You need something that isn't natural. So it was pink. So he had been filming that day, and they had a pink house standing in for the computer animated house that they put in later. And he said, this is the house that's missing, that gets filled in later. What if we put pink houses all over the lower Ninth where we're going to build and show everybody what's missing?
And
Isn't that cool?
And so you did that. What was the effect of it?
Well, you could see it from space. That was pretty neat. And we did it as a fundraising exercise. And people would donate money, and you could actually see the pink house get moved to square. You could see the roof go back on as the money came in. And I think we raised $6 million doing that.
You were just part of a panel, and just this whole idea of you can think about the environment, you can think about doing good, whatever you're doing. I mean, that's an important part of innovating, isn't it, and design?
I think the fundamental question of what is the right thing to do before you start thinking about the right way to do something is really important. Because if you start with just number, you can get to benchmarking. You can be 20% less bad or something. But if you start with your values, what is good and bad, you can drive it all the way to value. It's very hard to get your values from the numbers.
But it seems that also in your work that you've been very focused on community and on listening to what's going on the ground, what's going on, in the Make It Right thing. I read a lot about this last week, that you did a lot of listening and really let people design what they wanted for their homes. And rather than having the architects tell them what they're going to get, you built from the ground up, you designed from the ground up.
Yeah, we gave people a lot of choice. We also held their hands as they came back and recovered from this dramatic disaster. It was a catastrophe and a tragedy. People lost their lives. Families were moved away, put in FEMA trailers. The children came back with asthma. They couldn't breathe. And one of my favorite stories of Make It Right was a single mother, hospice care worker, 2 kids came back. They wanted to dance. They wanted to learn karate. And they couldn't because they couldn't breathe. They had asthma from the trailers they'd been in and from the formaldehyde. And so they came to Make It Right House, and within 3 months they could sing and dance.
We just scratched the surface, and maybe in the future, Bill, we can come back, because I'd love to talk more about it. Bill McDonough, and if you don't know who he is, you should Google his name today. Bill McDonough on Bloomberg Radio. Thank you.